Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we have another product review for you here at Punishers Paintball. We're excited as we have the Pro TOYZ Speedster Hopper. We're going to be going through it today.
If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like the video as well as subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow us on all social media.
Alrighty guys, so here we have the Pro TOYZ Speedster Hopper. This was just released by Planet Eclipse earlier this week, and it's basically a collaboration with Planet Eclipse, but it is actually the Pro TOYZ brand. So the Speedster loader retails for a price point of $64.95. It's available for purchase now at punisherspb.com, so if you're interested in one of these, head on over to our website and pick it up. So as you can see here, we have a pretty standard box. We're going to open up the box and kind of go through our first impressions. So little teaser, we actually already have taken this out and tested and everything else like that. Keegan did some testing with it yesterday.
Yes,
Keegan, why don't you kind of walk us through what you think of the loader first?
Yeah, so first off, when I got it out of the box, first thing I noticed was it came with these other two little clear pieces here.
Yeah, what's that about?
You can see these. So one of them is actually a replacement for the on-off switch here,
okay.
Which is nice that they include it just in case it gets paint in there, gets stained or anything like
100%.
that, or you break it. And the second one is actually a 50 cal paintball adapter. So you can actually use 50 cal paintballs in this loader. So the capacity of the Speedster is 210 68 cal and 500 rounds 50 cal. Which is a good amount for a hopper like this.
Yeah, I mean 100% for $64.95.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about the price point here in a second, but your Spire IR is going to be about 268 cal, and the LTR is right around 268 cal. So this actually theoretically holds a little bit more.
Yeah, so it's got a very thick shell that feels very durable, but at the same time that adds a little bit of weight. So we have a scale here, and we will weigh it. Alright, guys.
So let's put that there. And we're going to zero it here. Alright, so this actually has the batteries in it.
Correct.
So it takes 4 AA batteries. Okay. And this is what the battery's already installed. So with the batteries installed, we are at 1 pound, 6.7 ounces.
1 pound, 6.7 ounces.
Yep. And we're going to draw a comparison here. We're going to get a Spire IR and weigh that and give you guys a general idea. Alrighty, guys. So we have a Spire IR, which retails for a price point of $100. It's going to be relatively comparable to the new Speedster loader. We actually just tossed 3 AA's into the Spire IR, and we're going to weigh this here. So as you can see, we've got it zeroed. When we put it on the scale, we are at 1 pound, 2.1 ounces. So it is significantly, I mean, 4 ounces is a lot just for a loader. So something to keep in mind there. The other thing that we actually have here is we actually also have, probably more comparable, is going to be an Empire Halo 2 loader, and we have 4 AA's, which is what the Halo 2 takes, and we're going to weigh that as well. And that is actually 1 pound, 4.5 ounces. So the Speedster is the heaviest loader. So the weight is definitely something that, you know, is a big thing for me. But you also, considering the price point, one of the things that we want to talk about was the fact that the loader comes in at a price point of that $64.95, which is a really good price point when you consider that really nothing nowadays features that price point anymore. The Halo 2 is now $79.95. Spire IR, you're looking at $99.95 and up. So everything else like that. So the Speedster is definitely one of those budget-friendly hoppers, and I'm glad that Planet Eclipse decided to kind of tie this into the realm of things, because really Planet Eclipse has never done a loader, and I mean, I guess it's Pro TOYZ, but needless to say, you know, it's coming from Planet Eclipse, so really nice there. The build quality I think is really good. You know, it feels super heavy. It feels like a brick, but I will say this: the plastic, like, not worried about breaking it.
Yeah,
you know?
You're not going to break it. You're not going to have to worry about your lid popping off or the top part of the shell popping off.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the Pals loader. Like,
that's what I was going to say.
The lid and everything else like that.
It's literally just a big kid Pals.
Right, with an electronic feed.
Yeah.
So why don't we take it apart and kind of go through it. So Keegan, one thing that we'd like to mention is that with the lid, the way that the lid is shaped, basically you know, you can't put a speed feed on it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be really interested to see what happens when it comes to speed feed capability down the road. The other thing that I noticed is like this lid is kind of a pain in the butt to pop open the first few times.
It is.
I'm hoping that like with a little bit of time that's going to wear in.
Yep.
Keegan, you want to break it down for us and kind of show it since you've already done it a few times?
So first off, when you are taking apart the hopper, you have to first pop up the lid. And inside of the lid, there's a little tab that you have to push down. And once that is fully seated down, there's another tab that kind of opens up to be able to pull out that is just a latch for the top of the shell. So that's your top shell taken off. It's kind of like the control loader, how it comes on and off.
Yeah, 100%. And there's nothing electronic there, so it's very easy to wash.
Yeah, the one thing that I did notice while you were flipping that upside down, though, it does seem to have 3 screws here, so possibly in the future we might be seeing...
That's a good insight.
I say that there's... I think there's going to be
so
something.
we could be seeing a speed feed for this loader, which would be a huge selling point for this loader, being $64.95, the cheapest electronic loader out there. So the next thing that you would do is why I say that it's similar to Aspire is that the entire tray actually comes out with all the electronics. So all you would have to do is pull this tab forward, which kind of locks it and keeps it in place. So then you have your entire tray with all your electronics, your batteries, everything like that. And another thing, looking at this, similar to the Aspire 3, is to clean it. Once you take the tray out, there's no electronics inside the tray. All you have to do is go take it to your sink and just run it under some hot water. It's not going to damage it.
Let it dry off and you're good to go.
You can run it through the dishwasher too.
Yeah, you could.
Seriously.
So the next thing that we're going to touch on is the actual board itself and the tray. So this actually uses an eye system similar to the IR. So you can see it's going until, well, as soon as I put my finger in it,
so it's sensing. So it's sensing the motion of paintballs.
Yeah.
So it's okay. So it's very similar to the IR in that sense. I noticed that it does only have 1 speed capability, and it's relatively slow. So there was a few concerns on our side of things, and one of them was how fast is it going to be able to feed? On the box and Planet Eclipse / ProToyz, they advertise that this can do 10 plus balls per second. So we're going to test that here in a minute with a marker. But needless to say, you know, that was your first concern when you took it out. I thought that it was going to be able to do it. We've already done a little bit of testing. It was like really close to that 10 balls a second, but we're going to show you guys firsthand. And it's basically just those 4, you know, prong propeller that feeds the paintballs. Keegan, the batteries, so very similar, like the battery tray. It's similar to Aspire battery tray or like a LTR battery tray or anything else like that. It does take 4 AA's, and it does have a nice strap here, which I like because that way, you know, your batteries aren't going to fall out and everything else like that. Now, in the event that you're going to break a paintball, the other thing that I'm noticing is that the inside of that, it's going to be really easy to clean the paint, so there's going to be no issues with, you know, not being able to access something and get right back on the field, which is really cool. So the big thing here to take away is the fact that it's toolless. So for $64.95, you're getting a toolless design. You can take it completely apart, put it all back together. Super easy to clean and pop it back together. So Keegan, why don't you put it back together for us to kind of give us a general concept, since you've done it a few times now. But yeah, it's not too difficult. Take it away.
So putting it back together, first thing you have to do is actually put the part that would be facing you on the marker in first.
So the back portion of the loader.
Yeah, the back portion. So you would slide it right underneath. There's a tab here, and then you would just snap it down. The front clips in, and then that board is secured. It's not going to go anywhere if there is any concerns with that. So the next thing you would do is you have to have your rain lid, or if they do come out with speed bead, up. And then it's like the control loader. You would just kind of roll it over the top and just snap it in place. And then you want to make sure that that tab on the inside is up once it's clipped in place. That locks it from ever separating. It's not going to come apart. It's very sturdy, and you don't have to worry about hitting the ground, having that top lid pop off. And then that's the entire thing put back together. Super easy, super quick.
Alright guys, so pros and cons of this loader, a few things that we would like to summarize this video with. First thing, pro-wise, price point. right?
Yep. Can't beat it.
Like we've already touched on, $64.95 for this loader. So far, as in our testing that we've done out back, so far it's been really good. I'm excited to see like the reliability factor because it does have the name of Planet Eclipse backing it. I think that it's going to be reliable. Another thing, price point, or another thing that I'd like to say is that the toolless design is like unprecedented. So your closest comparison there is probably the Empire Halo 2 at $80. So the Halo 2 is $15 more, and the Halo 2 is not a toolless design, whereas this is. So that is a huge feature, in my opinion, that you're getting that at such a low price point compared to other markers.
Agree.
Keegan, what else pro-wise did you have for me?
So there's two other pros that I can think of.
Okay.
The construction of it. Very durable. I don't think it's going to have any problems breaking or anything like that.
Yep.
When the other pro being the fact that I believe that it's the only electronic hopper on the market that is able to be 50 cal compatible.
The Valken switch is compatible.
Gotcha.
The Valken switch is also going to be more money though.
Yeah.
So the Valken switch is a nice loader. It's reliable in all that sense. But again, for the Valken switch, you're at that $80 to $120 mark, whereas this you're at $64.95. So that is a good point though, Keegan, is the fact that you can adjust between 50 cal and 68 cal, which is really nice. So cons of the loader, the weight.
Yep,
right,
correct.
That's my biggest thing. It's going to be the heaviest electronic loader basically on the market when your batteries are installed. The other thing, too, is the unavailability of the speed feed. I think with a little bit of time, something's going to happen. Somebody will come out with an aftermarket.
Correct.
If anything, Exalt is really good about that as far as releasing like aftermarket speed feeds. Like the Halo 2 for $80, you are going to have the availability to put a speed feed on it. So that is something that Halo 2 has over this. Other con with it being what, Keegan?
I would just say the rate of feeding.
Yeah.
Being the fact that it is a bit slower feeding, they only say 10 plus balls a second. You may sometimes have stutters feeding a constant like 10.5 balls a second.
That's kind of what you ran into yesterday, correct?
Yeah, it fed decent, but there was times where it kind of had a little bit of stutter.
And that was at 10 balls a second, and they're advertising 10 plus balls a second. So I definitely don't think that that's capable. But for those guys that are out there, they're just looking for like a loader when it comes to like a backup loader. This might be a available option that people didn't really consider before this. So this is really nice, and the fact that it is brand new to the market. So
Joel, I had a question here. Who buys this hopper? Who is this geared toward? What kind of player?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I think that this is really cool because once again, it's that diverse crowd that you can get with this loader because it's kind of like the Planet Eclipse EMAC, right?
Yeah.
Like you see like the vast array of people using the Planet Eclipse EMAC. I think that the same thing's going to go for this. With it being so cheap, it's going to be available as far as like those beginner speedball players that are interested in getting like say a mini GS or something like that, picking up their first electronic speedball marker. This is going to be something that people are going to be able to pair it with. That's going to be really good, and I also think that it's going to be capable of as long as you can get right around that 10 balls a second. I also think that there's a market for high-end speedball. Don't you guys agree?
I would agree. I don't think that for the people that are going to be spending a lot of money on the sport, I think that it's going to be more of a backup situation.
Sure.
But that getting into speedball or when you're trying to be on a budget, it's probably honestly the best option out there.
Yeah. Doug, what do you think?
I would say definitely more the either intro speedball player. I would honestly see it more so probably for the career or more consistent rec ball player.
I see that, yeah.
I personally wouldn't take that on the speedball field, but it looks durable enough and consistent enough that I would happily take that out to play rec. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I mean, rec fields prefer you not to really be shooting that fast anyway. So
that's true. That's a very good point.
If I had my Axe or my mini GS or whatever with my 48 cubic inch aluminum tank, I think that is a nice complement to the rest of it that keeps you
Yes.
way on a good budget to buy maybe a better mask or something like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the other thing that I like to point out is when it's actually on the gun, you know, as far as like if you want to go rec ball and everything else like that, it doesn't feel awkward on the gun. It feels very well balanced, and even though it is heavier, like you don't necessarily notice it as much because it is so well balanced. Like all the weight is kind of right in the center of it, and when you put it on your marker, it feels good. So,
I mean, look at the way it stands up on its own. I don't think I could do that with like a die loader. So.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. All right, guys. So we're out back here at the store. We have a used MacDev Prime XTS that's available for the sale on the website. We have the Speedster loader attached with some GI 1-star paint. This is some older stuff. It's not too great, but we're gonna see how it keeps up with that. And then Doug has his Shocker XLS
Ohio State edition. I've got the Spire 3 on here, so obviously this is a typical tournament setup, so we know this will shoot 10.5 no problem. So this will be kind of our sound comparison to see if this guy can keep up. And then we also have the screen on the Prime XTS here to tell us exactly what rate of fire we're gonna achieve. So without any further ado, I'm gonna don my eyeballs here.
So simple touch of the button to turn the Speedster loader on. As you can hear, it is turning. And there you go. And we're going to turn our MacDev Prime XTS on. We're going to shoot this first. Alrighty.
What did it say we hit, Joel?
It was set at Millennium, and it was consistently 10.2. So that's really good. So Doug, why don't you just give a comparison here with your Shocker?
Absolutely.
With your Spire 3?
This will probably sound about the same. By the way, when I'm getting to the end of my hopper, yes, it's gonna pop a lot because I haven't done my eyes in forever. So here's some fun. There you have it. So I think that thing kept up real nice with the Spire 3. I see no issues with it, honestly, Joel. I think you could probably get away with taking that onto a tournament field with your more beginner style kind of setup.
Alrighty, guys, so there you have it. The Speedster kept up great with our Prime XTS. You saw the comparison there with your Spire 3 and your Shocker.
Yep.
And it was basically identical as far as the rate of fire and everything else like that. So overall, very impressed with the rate of fire, overall just composition of the loader, everything that it has to feature for the price point. Doug, final impressions.
Dude, honestly, so, and I know we talked a little bit earlier, I really thought this would be geared more toward kind of like the rec ball player, but I could take this on the tournament field and still clap some fools off the break, honestly. Like, your lanes are going to be there.
Clap some fools.
Yeah. If you just, like, say you've got the Mini GS or whatever, and you have other, you know, kind of less expensive stuff, this would first of all fit that profile pretty well and still gets you up to speed on the field, able to play paintball and actually get better at the game before you go spending more money on more expensive products. So
absolutely,
I like it. I like this thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, we hope that you enjoyed this video. If you guys want one of these, go over to punisherspb.com, pick it up today. There will also be a link in the bio directly to the product page. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content. See you guys next time.